Wondering who Deborah was in the Bible? Maybe you've heard of her but are curious why God thought she was so special to mention the scriptures. We'll go on a journey to discover how strong and courageous she was as a godly woman. If you need some encouragement, keep watching. So, who is Deborah in the Bible and what did she do? In the book of Judges, we are told that Deborah was a prophetess and a judge married to a man named Lapidoth. Her position is defined in Judges 4 verses 4 to 5. There isn't any mention of her married life other than she was married to a man named Lapidoth. You typically do not see this high of rank with a woman, so it's quite fascinating to read. Traditional Jewish chronology places Deborah's timeline to 40 years of judging Israel from 1107 BC until her death in 1067 BC. Her life is written for our instruction as indicated in the New Testament with Romans 15 verse 4. If you are a woman, you'll especially be blessed by Deborah's courageous spirit and determination. One thing to note about judges. Judges were not rulers over the entire tribe of Israel. They were assigned certain parts of Israel to help rule the people. Sometimes we tend to believe that we cannot accept high positions as a Christian woman. However, the scriptures say otherwise. We are created equal in God's eyes. While there is a hierarchy with men versus women in the family, it doesn't mean we can fulfill high-level positions in the working world. As mentioned, Deborah was a prophetess as indicated in the scriptures. She is one of the 4 female prophets mentioned in the Bible by name in Israel. The other 3 prophetesses are Miriam, Exodus 15 verse 20, Isaiah's wife Huldah, 2 Kings 22 verse 14, and Anna, Luke 2 verse 36. Deborah was also a judge of Israel who gave advice and held court. While the period of Judges lasted 450 years from Joshua to Samuel, it was a spiritually declining time when man was more interested in himself than God. While God encouraged 13 judges to help Israel against her enemies, Deborah may have been the best judge for the people of Israel had before Samuel. The people of Israel were crying out to God during their oppression with the Canaanites, who had captured them for 20 years. God heard their cries and instructed Barak, an Israelite, through Deborah's prophecy, to go against the captain of the Canaanites, Sisera. He was commanded to gather 10,000 Naphtali and Zebulun men. Yet, he had not gone yet, obviously fearful or hesitant to think that it wouldn't work. Deborah inquired about it to Barak, and he responded that he wouldn't go unless Deborah accompanied him. Obviously, Barak is showing lack of leadership since he wanted to be accompanied by Deborah. She was willed to go with Barak on the war campaign. She knew it was what God wanted her to do. Sadly, the men of Israel were weak as indicated in Isaiah 3 verse 12. While Deborah was not going to lead the people in battle, she followed the army and encouraged Barak to move against Sisera. Without Deborah leading the charge, Israel would not have one. It was one of the greatest military victories in Israel's history. This woman had such a prominent and important role during this critical time for the Jews. She showed many leadership qualities including strength, courage, and obedience to the Lord. Wouldn't you love to meet her? Deborah is one of the few women with prominent positions in the Bible. Why did God choose Deborah? The scriptures tell us that her prophecies were a divine calling from the Lord. She judged the Jews and is mentioned by name 9 times in 2 chapters, Judges 4 to 5. These 2 chapters are where Deborah is mentioned the most in the Bible. It is important for ladies to study her life and apply the same principles that Deborah lives by. She had the wisdom to be a judge, leadership skills to encourage an army, and the courage to go the extra mile and instruct Barak to lead a small army as God instructed. Deborah is an exceptional woman in the Bible. Did you know Deborah had a song in the Bible? In Judges 5, the entire chapter is devoted to Deborah's song. The simplicity of these words generates power, the repetition implores passion, the metaphors reveal amazing visions in our mind, and the active verbs create energy. In Deborah's song, she reminds kings and princes to submit themselves to the true King of Kings. In addition, she addresses Jehovah God 14 times. If you search the Bible, you discover an extra 25 verses devoted to songs and prayer by women including Mary, Miriam, Hannah, and Elizabeth. We take away many lessons learned from Deborah's story. We must serve the Lord with jubilation instead of trying to avoid trouble and persecution in this world today. Deborah dealt with the problem head-on. She had wisdom, will, and a warrior for God. We must see our lives in a constant spiritual battle. If our eyes stay off God's path, we will become paralyzed. If we stay on God's will, we will have the courage to keep going forward. As Paul said, "I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race." His life was coming to an end. Yet, we are still here today. Do you see your life as a battle? If not, it's time to realize that you are in a spiritual battle that is not seen by the eyes. If you are aware, are you staying focused on the battle or getting distracted by the things of this world? Suit up, my friend. Like Deborah, she was willing and able to fight the battle alongside the Lord. You also need the armor of God every single day to stand strong and stay courageous for Him. Stay in the Word and pray all of the time. Are you willing to stay in the fight? It's your turn.